As a young girl, I was amazed by what older kids could do. They seemed like they're never afraid. If I think about my first childhood memories, one of them is when my mom picked me up in kindergarten. So sometimes we would walk by the gym of the elementary school, which was right next to it. And through the glass door, I could get a sneak peek of the dance classes held for the bigger ones. I was mesmerized by the moves, but particularly, I loved the jump splits. I thought doing a jump split was just the ultimate definition of cool. I wanted to be a part of it, so I started dancing, and soon enough, it became my passion. Throughout my years of training and competing, I discovered one thing, among many things, that I love about dancing: complexity. I started seeing how complex every single movement was. Because take the thing that initially caught my attention: jump splits. If you don't engage your whole body and flex from your head through your spine and waist, both your legs and knees, it cannot and will not be delivered properly. It is scary yet fascinating to think about that we have more than 650 skeletal muscles, 206 bones, and there are more than 300 joints in the human body, coordinated by the brain, which has its own 85 billion nerve cells. If I were to get results, I needed to be in constant control of every muscle and every nerve that helped me jump up, do a split, and then land perfectly. It was a constant combination of rhythm, flexibility, dynamics, and strength. I'm sure many of you have an experience in life, in either work or hobby or just something you're passionate about, when you discover that to reach your goals that sometimes seem simple, you must be able to think and act in an interconnected system. That was that kind of moment for me. My passion and perseverance kept me going and competing up until 2019, when I decided to stop dancing. There were so many thoughts, feelings, emotions, and questions inside me regarding this change that I didn't know how to deal with. I was scared because my old system was about to collapse, and the new one did not feel safe. Dancing was something that the voices in me were always for and rarely against, and that now this wasn't the case, it was terrifying to listen to what they had to say. The truth is, it is never safe or comfortable to choose the unknown, and as humans, we're wired to love the known. And I'm not gonna lie, of course, I'm no different. It is really uncomfortable, but it is less so if you can understand what's going on in and around you. So just like previously, I started seeing my movements in a system, I started embracing myself as a system. Now, I strive to be driven by courage and less by fear. But more importantly, I'm aware that the voices in me are there for me to listen to, even positive or negative, and they can serve me if I allow them to. Discovering my power in changing my thoughts regarding these voices made me think about not only my own self as a system, but the world as a system that I am a part of. Because think about how many people want to change. But do we have the courage for it? Fighting for and in democracy. Listening to all the voices involved, positive or negative, safe or unsafe. And the guts to change our lives as a consequence. Because it's gonna be tough, uncertain, and often uncomfortable. But to let something new unfold, we need to embrace all the parts of our forever changing complex worlds. Today, I invite you to evaluate your role and responsibility in your systems and listen to all the voices involved. Systems that are a part of you or systems that you are a part of. As a young girl, I was amazed by what the older kids could do because they seemed like they're never afraid. As a teenager, I learned that there's no such thing as not being afraid. And as a young adult, I know that by embracing all of the voices of our interconnected systems will give us the power to change. If you ask me, that's the ultimate definition of cool. Thank you.
That was fantastic. Thank you very much. And it looks like you've got some lovely weather there as well. So does anybody have any questions at all? I think, Tatiana, that the question that you asked to the last speaker is not going to fit with this speech here. So if anybody has a question of any sort, then do please ask away. I'm just flicking through to see if anybody's waving at me. So Matthew, do you have a question for Sarolta, please?
Thank you, that was fantastic. I really enjoyed it. Do you not worry that more and more people actually don't think democracy is cool, or that actually things can't be changed except by violent protest?
Okay, so thank you for your question. The first thing is that I think that which government system one is in favor for is very, very much value-based. So for example, I am in favor of democracy and I support democracy. However, since I come from a country where right now we are being faced with a government that is technically democratic, but we have been rightfully accused of not being aligned with European values, for example, I think that's something that many people struggle with, to understand that that's not a manifestation of democracy, what's happening right now in Hungary. So there is a confusion there. And I do think that, so I believe in non-violent forms of cooperation and collaboration. However, I know that many people right now or nowadays believe it, that violent forms are the only way to solve a problem, especially if, for example, if military is involved. However, I am not in favor of that, and I do think there are other aspects how we could solve these problems. But again, when it comes to these problems, it is very hard for me right now living in Hungary to get the complex picture of a problem where they use violent crimes. And I think I need to be more informed and to embrace the complexity of these situations to be able to say an adequate response of how to solve it. Yeah.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. And Gavin, do you have a question for us?
Absolutely. So with the jump splits, there's a clear end goal that all those interconnected parts are working towards. It's that move. With something like change, there isn't a clear goal, or I suppose, is there, would be my question. Is there a goal? And if not, like, how do we work out where we're going with all those bits?
Thank you for your question. Yes, jump splits is a very, very, very exquisite goal, and it's very clear. However, I do think that even if we don't put it in our minds consciously, I think change always has a goal. So, for example, when I stopped, what I told in my speech, when I stopped, even unconsciously, but my goal was to digest that problem, and change happened according to that. And when I had the power over that, then I could actually do it efficiently and do it in a way that felt like I'm at peace and I'm at relief. And I do think that this is also the same when it comes to the word. So I think many times we're just going around and we're just embracing, not even embracing all these changes, but we should be, and we should always name the goal, because it's so much easier, because there is always a goal, in my opinion, whether it's just making food at dinner, or whether it's fighting for democracy, whether it's creating a more equal educational system or healthcare system. No matter what it is always there. And if you name it, if you name your why, then it's so much easier to cope with the change that comes with it.
Thank you very much. And we just have a last question from Pia, who is asking, how can we be sure that the voices are to be trusted when we don't always make the right choices?
Well, I have to let the dear asker down, because I don't think we can be sure that the voices can be trusted. What we can do is maximize the voices that are heard, so we make our best decisions according to our resources. But unfortunately, we cannot make sure that things are going to turn out the way we want them to, or for example, a voice is representing an opinion that we are aligned with. What we can do is embrace everything and then make decisions according to those. And whether it is trusted or not, we can just use our gut and use our feeling. But it's also dependent on the problem. So if it's a personal problem, then I am very much in favor of trusting your voices, because I believe in the gut instinct. But if it's a global problem, then of course it is also in favor to listen to as many as we can, and then we can make the best decisions, which may not be perfect, but that's the best we can do.